From cradle to coffin, we are embraced by wood. Its fibers are hard and tough, yet warm to the touch, and they are emblematic of all that is natural in the world. Wood forms through its length irregular striations known as grains. We have a little sample of Mother Nature's wood here. Wood forms through its length irregular striations known as grains, and through its width concentric growth rings of alternating hardness and softness. Each species of wood has a distinct pattern of grains and rings which have slightly different properties. Wood is stronger along the grain than it is across, so it typically acts as structure in this direction. Though wood burns, its surface initially forms a char that temporarily protects the deeper fibers from further damage. Hence, heavy timbers are often safer during the first hour of a fire than steel or concrete, which lose their strength rapidly as their temperature rises. Another characteristic of wood is that it contains water. When a tree is felled, its fibers are saturated with moisture. Then, after the wood is sawn into lumber, much of the moisture exits through the wood's surfaces at a rate of about 1 inch of depth per year. Hence, a 2x4 like this will take about a year to cure, and a 6x6 timber will take about 3 years. But even after the wood has cured, its fibers still absorb moisture and swell when the air around them is humid and shrink when the air is dry. This is why your front door may stick in its frame on a hot, humid summer day and leak air around its edges on a cold winter night. Moisture in wood creates another problem. Its presence is like the Colonel's 11 secret herbs and spices to hungry termites, carpenter ants, moles, mildew, and a host of other bugs and fungi that love the nourishment of lignin. Imagine eating dirt from a hole you have dug. That's what a termite does. I suppose we would do the same if our houses were made of chocolate cake. When you finally discover any of the above destructive agents in your home or place of work, it may be too late to do anything but replace their repast. If wood is to endure as structure, any moisture it may contain should be allowed to escape as follows. 1. Locate all wood framing at least 18 inches above the ground. That's about this high, especially over crawl spaces in humid climates. This makes it hard for termites and other pests to reach the wood. 2. Place screen vents on each side of crawl spaces and attics and other areas enclosed by wood construction so air can flow through the spaces and carry away any accumulating moisture. 3. Do not install wood siding directly against plywood sheathing, but on 1x2 furring strips. Then air can circulate behind the siding, which minimizes discoloring, curling, nail popping, and rotting later on. And 4, wherever wood, metal, or masonry touch each other, insert a piece of 90-pound roofing felt like this material right here, not tar paper like this or plastic like this, in between the two materials. Wood, metal, and masonry absorb moisture in different ways, and moisture collecting on the surface of one of these materials can enter the other and degrade it. An exception to this is copper flashing in masonry chimneys, as here the adjacent metals are aqueously compatible. Anywhere else, and this thick, rough asphaltic barrier right here will stop transfer of moisture through the surface in common. Tar paper is too thin and smooth. And plastic sheet is worse than nothing because its slick surface collects moisture. Then it cracks, which opens the door to the very damage it was supposed to prevent. Wood now, go back to our little friend here, is sold in nominal dimensions, which aren't the same as actual dimensions. Consider the 2x4. Its actual size is not 2 by 4 inches, but about 1.5 by 3.5 inches. The larger nominal dimension, 2 by 4, is the wood's original size in the tree it was cut from, while the smaller actual dimension is the wood's size minus the thickness of the saw blade that cut the piece from the tree and minus the depth a planer blade peeled from each rough sawn surface to make the wood smoother to the touch. 1 inch thick lumber loses only about 1/4 inch of its thickness to the saw and plane. So a 1 by 4 is about 3/4 by 3.5 inches. You would want to know these things before, say, laying an oak floor with 1 by 4s. Otherwise, you might end up with 10% of the floor still uncovered when you've used the lumber you ordered. And when you call to reorder more, the lumber company says, sorry, we're out of stock. Another lumber measure is the board foot. This is a piece of wood that is 1 inch thick by 12 inches wide and 12 inches long. Therefore, a 2 by 10 that is 16 feet long has, I'm going to use a calculator here. A 2 by 10 that is 16 feet long has 2 by 10 divided by 12 times 16 equals 26.7 board feet in it. So, if a pallet of 16-foot long 2 by 10s is 6 pieces wide and 10 pieces high, your calculator will tell you the pallet contains 1,602 board feet of lumber. Now, if a lumber company sells structural hem fir 2 by 10s with 63 cents a board foot, your calculator will tell you, let's see here, that pallet of lumber will cost you $1,009. Pretty easy, eh? Might be easier doing this number crunching than paying a contractor this price. Plus 15% wage withholding, plus 15% job profit, plus 15% contractor's profit, plus another 20% retail markup. This might make you think of building your own house someday. In addition to wood, my book here, Architecture Laid Bare, describes several other common materials used in architecture, namely steel, concrete, masonry, earth, and fabrics. You can take a closer look at these contents by going to Amazon.com, and they have a little facility where you can kind of look around in the book if you feel like it.